everybody. Welcome back to the Stove, and we're the Stoveheads. My name is David, and this is Jacob, my co-host. And let's start off today's news, and let's talk about Bruce Arians retiring from the Buccaneers.
Yeah, so Bruce Arians said today that it's always been a dream to hand a head coaching job to a member of his staff. Um, he's not really retiring because he's still going to be in the front office. He says that there have been reports of friction between him and Tom Brady. He says, and this is a quote, couldn't be further from the truth. A number of people have asked, "Why are you stepping away?" Because he still has a chance, obviously, to go to the Hall of Fame and win another Super Bowl with Tom Brady coming back.
Yeah.
And his response is, "Because I don't give a shit about the Hall of Fame." So, pretty direct response.
And
there.
what age did he retire again?
69.
It's a very nice age to retire.
Very nice age to retire. That's the best day.
Yeah.
But
and who's his replacement?
It's going to be Todd Bowles, former now defensive coordinator. Obviously, after the Kansas City Super Bowl, when they held Kansas City to 9 points and kept Kansas City out of the end zone the entire game, he was in conversations for a lot of head coaching jobs and has been in conversations, obviously, for the past year and a half now, for conversations for a head coaching job. Well, he's going to get the head coaching job. It's going to be in Tampa Bay. I don't think many of us saw the head coaching job going to be there. I think it's interesting. I know you have some thoughts on this, that they chose not to go with Leftwich and decided to go with Todd Bowles instead.
I think that is absolutely ridiculous. I think Todd Bowles is a much better defensive coordinator than he is a head coach because he coached the Jets, and only awful coaches get to coach the Jets.
Yeah.
And Byron Leftwich, he was my guy. When the Vikings fired Mike Zimmer, he was my guy. I wanted Byron Leftwich. I was fighting tooth and nail to get him as our head coach. But we ended up going with Kevin O'Connell, the Rams offensive coordinator. But I would have loved Byron Leftwich. And I think they're stupid not to have him as the head coach to replace Bruce Arians. I think they're absolutely stupid for doing that because Tom Brady endorsed him countless amount of times.
Definitely.
So did Bruce Arians.
And
I think this is just absurd.
And I guess we assume that Leftwich is still going to be there.
Yeah, he is.
So I guess he's still going to be the offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
So
ridiculous.
That'll be interesting. So Todd Bowles is 58. He coached the Jets, as you said, from 2015 to 2018. He went 24-40.
Yeah, nice record.
He was also an interim coach for the Dolphins in 2011.
Oh God.
So
yeah, they were a powerhouse.
So the question that he got was, what did he learn from the Jets, from being the Jets coach? He said, usually when people get fired, they blame everyone else. The first thing I did was look within myself. He said, there are a lot of things I can do better.
You had a lot of things to look at.
Yeah. So obviously, I'm sure Tom Brady is probably happy that it's someone within the organization. Maybe. I mean, I'm not sure. Maybe he was looking at someone else. I'm sure he's happy Leftwich is staying there.
Yeah.
But, he probably would have rather Leftwich had the head coaching job.
I would have too, especially if I'm a quarterback.
Yeah.
If the head coach is an offensive guy, that's perfect.
Yeah, there were just so many other options for the Buccaneers, directions that they could have gone in. And I think this is an odd direction for them to go in. And
how old is he? 58? Todd Bowles? I think he's 58.
Todd Bowles, yeah, he's 58.
But anyway, old defensive coordinators that become head coaches certainly work out. Just look at my favorite team, the Vikings. We hired Mike Zimmer, who was like 58 or so when he was hired.
Mike Zimmer is the definition of average.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the definition. If you look up a definition of average, Mike Zimmer's picture will be in the Webster Dictionary.
And even all four teams that made it to conference championships this past year were all offensive minded head coach. Andy Reid, Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, and Zach Taylor.
Yeah, and obviously the Buccaneers are appearing to go in a different direction.
But you also got to think that BA's he's obviously going to have some input.
Yeah, well, like I say, he's still in the front office, so he's not really retiring. He said family played a big role in this decision and said there was no better time than right now to make the move. Do you think this has anything to do with Tom Brady coming back? Like he was kind of set that Brady wasn't coming back, and now Brady announces, a month ago or so that he is coming back?
Yeah.
Do you think Bruce Arians was kind of set that he wasn't, and now he's doesn't exactly know what to do since Brady is coming back?
No, I don't think this has anything to do with Brady. I think because, as you mentioned, he did mention he was coming out of retirement a month ago, and that would give Bruce Arians plenty of time to realize, okay, Tom Brady's coming back. I'm still going to be the guy. Leftwich is still here. Todd is still here. You know, he'd had plenty of time to realize that, hey, he's coming back.
Yeah.
And he just now announces his retirement. I don't think this has anything to do with Brady.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not convinced that he does. You know, obviously you don't know what goes on within
That's true.
there inside the front offices. Bruce Arians is older, and you know maybe the Buccaneers were looking to go in a different direction instead of getting an offensive minded coach, and we're looking to go in the direction of a defensive.
I think that's so ridiculous.
I don't think that's the right decision, but that is obviously what they're doing here. And Tom Brady, I don't think he's made any type of comment on this yet, but knowing him, he will. But
yeah, he will.
You know, Tom Brady to me, you know, I think Tom liked Bruce Arians a lot. I think they got along pretty well. Certainly got along better than he did with his last coach.
Yeah.
So
especially towards the end.
Yeah. So I think that you know, I'll be interested to see what Tom's reaction to this is because you know we don't really know as much about Todd Bowles and Tom Brady's relationship as much as we do about Leftwich and Brady's and Arians and Brady's relationship.
Yeah, this is exactly why I think this is asinine because Bruce Arians retired. Tom Brady announces his coming out of retirement a month ago because he didn't want to help his kids with their math homework. He comes out of retirement a month ago. Bruce Arians just now announces that he's retiring. They knew that Tom Brady was coming back. Would it make sense to get his guy as the head coach?
Well,
the greatest quarterback of all time who endorses a guy like Byron Leftwich. I think that's just idiotic.
And that's why I kind of wonder if this is a smack in the face to Tom. Because, you know, it's like Arians was like, you know, he trusted Tom and everything. And Tom was like, I'm done. I'm retiring. And Arians was like, okay, well, then we're ready. Then because Bruce Arians was kind of the one that was like, all right, it's time to move on. We got to look for the future instead of just
which is the mistake Bill Belichick made when he picked Jimmy Garoppolo.
Exactly. And so now
he's still playing at an elite level and just won a Super Bowl not even 2 years ago.
Yeah. And now you kind of wonder if Bruce Arians kind of got upset that Tom Brady came back. And this is kind of like a kick in the face to like say, well, I'm not going to hire your guy. I'm going to hire a defensive guy instead of Leftwich. And now you got to deal with it. So I don't know if that's for sure, but that's what I think is possibility here. That's what I think.
One thing I want to know is who like led the movement to get Todd Bowles as the head coach. Because I want to know if Bruce Arians picked him or if somebody in the front office picked him.
Yeah, I think it's Bruce Arians. From what I see here, I think that Bruce Arians, I think he wanted Todd Bowles to be the next guy. And
I just wonder if it was the general manager because Jason Light.
I don't know that yet. I don't think
because Jason Light and Bruce Arians and Tom Brady both had a great relationship going, and then when Tom Brady retires, he comes back. Bruce Arians retires. I just need to know who made this decision
because I think one of the interesting things is Bruce Arians obviously talked about retiring after the Buccaneers season was over.
Yeah.
And then he, at the time, he said it wasn't the right time.
Mm.
Well, he said once Brady announced that he was ending his brief retiring to come back to the Buccaneers, the decision was easy. And there was, and this is a quote, no better time to pass the torch than now.
Mm.
So that's why I wonder if Tom Brady's coming out of retirement affected this because it feels like it's like he's saying that Tom Brady pushed him over the edge to where he's just and keep in mind, Brady's got much more of an ego now that he's gotten in Tampa Bay than he had when he was in New England.
Makes him a little bit more likable though.
Well, maybe to some people, but Bruce Arians is a little bit older, and a lot of older guys and older coaches don't like egos. Bill Belichick sure don't like egos.
He don't.
So, and that, he always was able to keep Tom in his place. And you kind of wonder if Bruce Arians
at this point, Tom
didn't
has
like Tom's ego.
At this point, Tom has the right to have an ego.
Well, maybe.
The man's won 7 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
And he's the greatest quarterback of all time, which I think 90% of people in the world agree with.
Yeah, if you don't, then you're just wrong.
Yeah, if you think it's anybody else, you're probably like 55 years old and think it's Joe Montana. But Still, I just highly disagree with the move of hiring Todd Bowles. I just don't like it. And plus, this is a win now situation. Since Tom Brady is coming back, you can't believe he's going to play for another 10 years, which he might. But
Yeah.
This is just such a win now situation because him coming back brings other people that were free agents in the Bucks organization back. Gronk's probably coming back to the Buccaneers.
Yes.
And Chris Godwin's obviously back. And they still have Mike Evans. They still have a great offensive line, even though they did lose Ryan Jensen and Ali Marpet. I just think that if Bruce Arians really did need to retire, I think it should have been Leftwich. I think he would have been much more equipped to win now than Todd Bowles.
So Bowles, he's probably going to still call it the defensive plays.
Yeah.
And so Bowles said Thursday that Larry Foote, I think, is that right? And,
Larry Foote?
Yeah, and Casey Rogers will be the Bucks co-defensive coordinators this season.
I don't know how I feel about that because the Vikings had co-defensive coordinators this past year, and we were bottom 25 in defense. So, but on the other hand, the Bucks do have a lot more talent on their defense.
Yeah. So, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out and just kind of the changes that are made specifically on the offensive end because, you kind of get to see is Bowles going to let Leftwich completely run the offense or is Bowles going to step in and be like,
run the ball more.
It's like a Nick Saban type of thing where Nick Saban calls.
He's the dictator of the entire team.
Is it the dictator like a Bill Belichick or Nick Saban? Or do you and both systems can work because obviously Nick Saban has won multiple titles and Bill Belichick has won multiple titles.
Well,
so they can
one's in college.
So, yeah, I know, but I'm just saying both of them can work.
Yeah, but
the question is Todd Bowles going to be that type of person or is he going to be more like somebody who just kind of lets the coordinators call everything and he's just kind of a manager in the middle?
Exactly.
That's the question because I think for when you have Leftwich as an offensive coordinator, I think Bowles needs to back off and just be like, you call the offensive plays, I'll call the defensive plays. And if that happens, nothing much should really change because then you got the same people calling the plays pretty much as you did last year. So not much should change. So I think that Bowles needs to step back because the dictatorship system can work, but it's just not. And I just don't think
he can pull it off.
And Tom doesn't like the dictatorship style.
Which is why I think Leftwich would have been perfect. Yeah. But anyways, let's move on to some other NFL news, which is former Seahawks guy just got cut recently by the Seahawks. Bobby Wagner signs a five-year deal worth $50 million with the Los Angeles Rams, an in-divisional rival.
Yeah, interesting signing. Obviously, this is a pretty good replacement for Von Miller. Both of them are a little aging. Both of them
play different positions, though.
Yeah, they do. But
but still, I think it's a great addition.
Yeah,
I do not like the contract because I think Bobby Wagner is on the way out. I think he's still a good player, but he's aging out. In 5 years, who knows what he's going to be like? And you're paying him about $10 million a year. I just do not like this at all.
Yeah.
I would have liked it if it was a 2-year deal.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure. I don't know do we know anything about Aaron Donald, about him retiring?
Yeah, I haven't heard anything on that situation.
So that's still up in the air.
Yeah. If they lose Aaron Donald, that's going to be a massive, massive loss.
Yeah. You just have Jalen Ramsey, but as a corner. But it's an interesting signing. They I don't think it's a bad deal. I mean, it's 5 years, $50 million.
But
I mean, at the back end of that, it's going to be $10 million that you're giving him. And how old is he now?
He's in his early to mid 30s, I think.
Yeah, so I mean, he's going to be in his late 30s probably by the time this contract is over in 5 years.
I imagine he does not play out that whole contract.
No, but again, this is an LA team with a huge budget, so this is kind of how they do things. But
again, the NFL does have salary cap.
They do, but I don't know. We'll see. I don't love the signing, but we'll see. I mean, the Rams are trying to retool. They're obviously trying to win now, so that's kind of the argument.
Yeah, and Stafford signed an extension with them not too long ago, and I think this is a good short-term option, but when he gets to year 3, 4, 5 of that deal, I don't
Yeah.
think it's going to work.
That's
out.
why I would have liked to maybe see a 1 or a 2-year deal
Yeah.
instead of a 5-year deal.
Exactly.
Because a 5-year deal is is getting in the long, medium contract
Yeah.
range, which is where you're
Yeah.
assuming, based on this contract, the Rams are basically telling you that they think Bobby Wagner can still be a really productive linebacker in 5 years, which is in 2027. I mean, that's what you're saying. You're saying that he can be still at a $10 million worth linebacker.
Who knows
in
if he's
2027?
Who knows
I
if
just
he's
don't
going to
see
be?
that.
Who knows if he's even going to be in the league by then?
Yeah. So
He's a linebacker. He's getting hit all the time. I just don't see that. I just don't see him playing out that whole contract,
Yeah,
and especially at $10 million a year. That's more than I thought he would have gotten. I thought it would have been around the $7-8 million range.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, let's talk about some NBA draft declarees, and the first one we got to start off with is Purdue standout, which is Jaden Ivey.
Yeah. So Jaden Ivey posted on Instagram on today at 3:04, and basically, I'll read it. Well, I'm not gonna read it, but basically, he thanks him, and he said he thanks Purdue University, and he's going to.
He also thanks Matt Painter for not putting together a competent game plan against the Peacocks.
He's from South Bend, which is in Indiana. But he's going to enter his name in the NBA draft. He's going to forgo his last 2 years, so he's going to hire an agent.
Yeah.
So Jaden Ivey, that's the first one. We saw EJ Liddell go. What was it? A few days ago.
Mm-hmm.
We saw EJ Liddell go. The other one today is Johnny Davis. So
Johnny Davis.
you also got Johnny Davis from Wisconsin going. Johnny Davis right now is number 9 prospect in ESPN 100.
Yeah.
Jaden Ivey's number 5. So that's where they're both. So both are top picks.
Yeah.
So Wisconsin, he's a sophomore. Obviously, as we know, he didn't finish the year very well. Did not have good games very well in the Big Ten tournament, and did not play well in the NCAA tournament at all. Did not play good against Colgate. Did not play good against Iowa State. But overall, he was the Big Ten Player of the Year. He's a first-team All-American, averaged 19.4 points a game, 8.4 rebounds, and 2.1 assists.
Yeah.
So a really good all-around player.
He's a great player. He's got tons of talent.
Yeah, he does have talent.
I think he does have the tools to succeed at the next level.
Yeah.
I think Jaden Ivey has a little bit more potential at the next level, just because of his ability to just take over a game is just unmatched.
Jaden Ivey's ability to get downhill and get to the rim
Yeah.
is just incredible. And actually, one of the things that's so good about Jaden Ivey is last year he shot about 25 or 26% from the three-point line. He upped that to almost 36%.
Yeah,
this
massive
year. So
improvement.
He has a
better.
3-point game. Last year he wasn't quite as much of a threat from the three-point line. Now he's a big threat from the three-point line.
Yeah.
He's great. He can get downhill. He's really athletic. He can guard. I mean, he can do everything. So Jaden Ivey's a really good player and kind of took over that role. When you thought of Purdue last year, it was Travion Williams A and Jaden Ivey B. Jaden Ivey, it's A, and now it's just everybody else on that team.
Yeah.
So obviously this will be an interesting thing. We'll obviously see a lot more players go to the NBA draft after the Final Four is over. You have Ben Kiro, who will probably declare. You'll have, these players that'll declare. Players from Carolina could declare. Caleb Love could declare. Bacot could declare. So you'll just have to see.
And Chet Holmgren from Gonzaga maybe would declare.
Yeah, he probably will.
Yeah,
I don't see why he wouldn't. But
hopefully he can gain some more weight in the NBA.
Yeah, but Holmgren will probably declare. You'll have, so we'll see. I mean, it'll be interesting to see. These players. You kind of get the ones that out of the way. The most interesting ones is going to be the transfer portal after it, because the transfer portal now is really easy. And now when you look at a team, you can't just say, all right, these players are returning and these players are leaving, so this is going to be our roster and this is who we have coming in from recruiting.
That's what happened with the Tar Heels.
Now you have no idea who's going to be on your team next year, because you don't know. Carolina, Remy Martin was a 19.1 per game scorer, and Kansas went out and got him. I mean, what if Carolina or somebody or Duke or Kansas or whoever goes out and gets an 18-point per game score and brings him?
Yeah, the recruiting game is a lot more than just going to kids' houses now. You just got to
exactly. We talk about Baylor.
Got to work the transfer portal.
Talk about Baylor last year. There were players. I can't exactly remember who. I think Maceo T was at UNC Asheville. They
Yeah.
had, I think it was a Davion Mitchell who was at Auburn. I think
I
Jared
think so.
Butler was somewhere else. I mean, they were a bunch of transfers that were there, and
Yeah.
so Scott Drew to me is the master of the transfer
Mhm.
portal. But we saw Carolina get Cam Johnson a few years ago from the transfer portal, and he turned out to be great for Carolina.
Yeah.
He was probably
And
their
we
best
also-
shooter.
Yeah, we
Back
also
10
lost
years.
somebody. Walker Kessler went to Auburn.
Yeah, the best defensive player probably in basketball. He'll
Exactly.
probably declare for the draft. But
Yeah.
so the transfer portal will be interesting. They've made it part of the reason Roy Williams retired was because he didn't like the way the
Yeah.
transfer rules were, how you could just leave one place and go to another. I don't love the transfer portal. I think it makes things a little more interesting. But I don't think it teaches good things because it's basically saying, if you can't start here,
Yeah.
well, you don't have to work for it. You can just go somewhere else and just start
Yeah, I
automatically. So I don't think it's always the best thing, but it's
Yeah.
certainly in terms of generally it makes the game more interesting because Carolina, we don't know who Carolina's going to get
Yeah.
or any other team who they're going to get for
Exactly.
next season.
And I think the Tar Heels will have a lot of people returning. I don't think they'll lose many people to the transfer portal. Obviously, this year we got Dawson Garcia.
Yeah.
We got a couple other players. I can't quite remember who it was off the top of my head, but yeah, I think a lot of teams are going to get a lot better next year.
I think the main player that's probably going to go to the transfer portal will be Kerwin Walton.
Yeah,
I think he'll probably go to the transfer portal just because.
which I think
Hubert is not giving him a ton of minutes. I like Kerwin Walton. Kerwin Walton played almost about 20. There'll be games where he played 20 points. I mean, he had like a 6 3-point. I think 6 3-pointers one game.
He's
last
probably
year.
our best shooter on our team.
Probably our best shooter. Him and Brady Manick. But but
on some nights Caleb Love,
and on some nights Caleb Love. But Kerwin Walton will probably go. Dontrez Styles, we don't know yet. We don't know about that one. Carolina does not have the best class coming in next year.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's not it's not like a star that can just come in and instantly take over the team and just make them a top 10 team. And we don't it's not like we have a top 10 pick coming in next year.
Yeah.
So you got Duke who's coming in with a historically great number 1 class next year.
Setting up John Shire for a really good start.
Yeah, Carolina's got that. That's where Carolina's going to dip into the transfer portal, and Hubert Davis did that. He got Dawson Garcia, he got Brady Manick, which is a great transfer to pick up. And it makes it where you get these super seniors who are 5th and 6th year seniors. Mm-hmm. These players, I mean, Carolina, we don't know who's going to be in the transfer portal. We saw Kofi Coburn go to the transfer portal last year. He obviously came back to Illinois, but he entered his name in the transfer portal. Yeah. So even if you're really, really good, doesn't mean they're not going to go to the transfer portal because it's so easy now. And, team players they may not like a coach or they may like how one coach does it better. Like, well, I've gotten here and now I don't really like it. So even though I've scored 20 points a game, well, I want to go here. So, it'll be interesting to see what goes down.
Yeah. All right. Let's transition into a weekly segment that I think we want to start here. And this week on The Boys, let's see what the Cowboys are up to now, especially with their owner, Jerry Jones.
Yeah, so Jerry's at it again, as he is all the time. So this is really bizarre.
So, gotta love the boys.
Yeah. So Jerry, who, as we know, is really got some thick pockets. Jerry gave millions of dollars to a woman who filed a paternity lawsuit. Basically, is what happened is they had a kid, and then he paid her to be silent about it so it wouldn't be public. So this is what Jerry gave her all. Gave the daughter. This is what Jerry gave the woman who's her biological daughter. Jerry's given her nearly $3 million. She paid her full tuition at SMU and a $70,000 Range Rover for her 16th birthday. I wish I was Jerry's biological son.
I wish I was too.
But it's very bizarre.
Normal stuff for the boys.
Yeah, it's interesting. But I think that Jerry's got himself not a great case going for him.
No,
right
he's gotten into a lot of trouble.
Like I say, Jerry's got some thick pockets though, so
Yeah.
the lawyers are going to be top level lawyers. So
Yeah, he probably doesn't have to worry about anything.
No, but yeah, interesting moves. But what else about the Cowboys? I mean, releasing basically all their skill position players.
Trading Amari Cooper for
yeah.
a 5th and a 6th round pick.
Yeah, one of the most talented most talented receivers
and
in
other
football
than
today.
And other than CeeDee Lamb, their best receiver.
Yeah. So, it's
the Browns absolutely got a steal.
They did, especially for a team that got rid of Jarvis Landry and they needed a receiver. Well,
and now they got Deshaun Watson.
And now they got Deshaun Watson, so they upgraded at the receiver position and they've
upgraded
at the quarterback position. So they, Cowboys have done some interesting moves over the offseason, and I think they've gone from being certainly the favorites in the NFC East to making the NFC East. The NFC East is still a really weak position, so the Cowboys could certainly still win the division somehow. But
I could see a scenario where the Washington Commies win the division.
Yeah, I could too. I could see that. But it'll be interesting.
Yeah,
I think that
unless Carson Wentz absolutely turns into Carson Wentz.
Yeah, that's a strong possibility.
Throwing left-handed passes.
Yeah, that'll happen. But that's a guarantee. But
you're right.
They still have Dak, so that's you can take that as
I would put.
Will.
I would put Dak in the same level as somebody like Kirk Cousins.
I would say Dak's a little better than Kirk Cousins, but
maybe.
I think Dak's got better arm talent than Kirk Cousins does.
It's kind of close. If you look at statistics, if you watch games, it's a little close.
Now, clutchness level, they're about the same.
Yeah. That's mainly where I'm basing this off of.
But
I would say Dak's probably a little bit more clutch than Kirk.
Probably, but yeah, this is very odd about Jerry. I'm just saying very odd.
Normal stuff.
It's come out a few weeks ago about this.
Yeah.
And $3 million, a full tuition at SMU, which is full tuition is over $100,000 for a full tuition.
A Range Rover.
And at SMU, isn't that a private? I think that's a private university because it's a Methodist. It's Southern Methodist, so I think it's a private.
It could be.
And a Range Rover, which is $70,000.
Why couldn't he give me a Range Rover?
I don't know.
At least a BMW.
Yeah, at the very least.
Yeah, exactly. Like, who would not want a BMW?
I do.
Yeah, me too.
But
all right, let's transition into another segment that we're starting today, which is probably going to be my favorite segment of the entire week. And let's do Hoff's hot moment. Why don't you grab the mic and I'll let you just speak about whatever you want.
So this is just going to be a segment where I basically just ran about the Braves, mostly for most of it, or the Celtics, or any other team, any one of my idiotic teams that do terrible. The Braves. So, we've got Dansby Swanson, first of all. Dansby is was the first pick a few years ago. He's batting 111 right now in spring training, which is just absolutely asinine. He's playing like ass right now. We have Marcell Ozuna, who obviously he can beat his wife. We'll see if he can beat the baseball too. Marcell is hitting 211 right now. Marcell has hit 1 home run, and Marcell is considered one of the most best power hitters. Yeah, he's got to get those numbers have got to get better. Austin Riley, who to me is probably a top 10 favorite for the National League MVP at this point coming into the year, he's batting 211. Ozzy's batting 300, which is really good. But our players, right now we have Adam Duvall, who's probably hitting the best right now of any of our hitters in spring training. He's batting 353. Why is Adam Duvall playing the best in spring training? That is absolutely beyond me. And Matt Olson, who's our big pickup, he's batting 263. That'll work. He's got 1 home run. He can hit 39 home runs in Oakland, but he's only hit 1, and he's in Atlanta. I find that interesting. Olson has not hit a single double yet. Not one. He has not gotten 1, but he's gotten, what's he got? 5 hits? Yeah, he's got 5 hits. I mean, I don't know. He's just, and all of our big pickups that we've made, this great bullpen that we have made, we've got all these all these bullpen we picked up, obviously Kirby Yates and Kenley Jansen and all these players, and me myself, who have claimed to that we have now probably the best bullpen in baseball, maybe the best bullpen in 10 years. Well, the Braves are proving me wrong every single day. Let's start with the starting pitching. Right now, Ian Anderson has a 10.8 ERA. Yeah, you heard that right. 10.8. Yeah, one of the best young pitchers in baseball is a 10.8. Kyle Muller, another one of our big prospects, 8.53 ERA. Sean Newcomb, 6.75. Charlie Morton pitched really well the other day. He did not give up a hit. That's our one area that worked. Dylan Lee, 9 ERA. We got Riley with a 13.5. We have who else we got? We got Matzik, who has a 16.2 ERA. Yeah, the guy who won us the series against the Dodgers, I guess he's just that just hasn't gotten out of his head yet. He's got a 16.2 ERA. Yeah, well, it's a new season, buddy. Wake up. So we've also, we got Brennan, who's got a 20.25 ERA. I mean, these are just like video game like numbers. And and my favorite one is Nick Vincent, who's got a 54 ERA. So that's my favorite one. Right now, the Braves have a 4.03 ERA in spring training as a team. Yeah, this is the best team to challenge the Dodgers right now. A team with a 4.03 ERA, which on a normal year will probably be dead last in baseball in a regular season. The regular season starts on April 7th, which is a week away. We are 1 week out from the from opening day. The Braves have 1 week to get this together. If they do not, you're going to hear a lot more of this. Let's go to the Celtics. Boston has played really, really well over the course of the last, 2 months, really. They're 7-3, but we've now lost 2 in a row. Robert Williams got hurt, which really sucks because he's probably our best interior defender because it's definitely not Al Horford. So, we've got that going. Jason Tatum, to me, should be the MVP this year. Jason Tatum is playing absolutely incredible. Obviously, I'm a little biased, but he's got 27 points a game. He's average now. He's just playing unbelievably. I think he's shooting 35% from three, 45% from the field. He's getting to the free throw line, shooting 86% from the free throw line as a 6'8" guy. I mean, that's just incredible. Jaylen Brown, who's averaging 23.4 points a game. Marcus Smart has stepped up. Marcus Smart is such an underrated passer. I mean, Marcus Smart is averaging almost 6 assists a game. He's such an underrated passer and probably our best player. Last night, the Heat came into town, a team that has not played good over the last 2 weeks, and they kicked our ass. They beat us 106-98. They outscored us 27-15 in the fourth quarter. That's just not going to work at all. I just don't even. But Jaylen Brown had 28. What else? Jimmy Butler had 24. Who else? Kyle Lowry had 23. That's nice. Let Dwayne Dedman score 9. And my favorite one is Max Strus, who scored 14, 5 for 10, 4 for 9 from the 3-point line. And we held Tyler Hero to 12. Duncan Robinson had 5. Victor Oladipo didn't even play. I mean, it's just not what we need. Markieff Morris didn't play. Tatum had 23, was 0 for 5 from 3 last night. Jaylen Brown was 9 for 22. Marcus Smart was 3 for 15. I don't know what the hell he was doing. Grant Williams, 2 for 7, 4 points. This man played 26 minutes, got 4 points. Tice was probably our best player last night. He had 15. He was 6 for 6 and with one for 1 from the 3-point line. But he had 1 rebound. How are you 6'9"? How are you 6? Explain to me how you are 6'9" and you get 1 rebound. I'd love to know. If someone has the answer to that, just please let me know. And the other one is Derek White, who played 32 minutes, and he had 9 points, had 2 rebounds, 3, and had 4 fouls. 4 fouls. And Peyton Pritchard had 3. He's just, I don't even know what to say about him, but just terrible. My team's, the most angering is the Braves because we have so much talent. And for someone who's called us probably a top 3 pitching rotation and the best bullpen I've seen in the last, 10 years, Well, yeah. Well, a 4.03 ERA says differently. And right now, when we look at the team batting average, what is it? 254, which is just not the areas that we need to be in. This is a team that has so much power. And again, what's happening, and it happened last year early in the year, all of our stars are carrying the load. Austin Riley, Matt Olson are carrying the load. It was the same thing. It was Acuna, Riley, and Freeman carrying the load last year. Now we have Riley and Olson carrying the load. Azunia, get your head out of your ass and start hitting. Swanson, same thing. It's just, and Adam Duvall's hitting. That makes sense. And then we got William Contreras. No, not Wilson Contreras. William Contreras, who's hitting 214. He has one home run, which is just crazy. But he has the same amount of home runs as Marcel does. Marcel and Matt Olson. He's got more than both of them. And Eddie Rosario, we paid you a big fat check this offseason. You're hitting 222. You don't have a single home run. You got 1 double and 4 hits. Do better. That's it.
Well, I think I like that segment. You had me dying over there. You had me dying.
That's it.
All right. Well, that's it for Hoff's Hot Moment. Now let's move on. No, let's move on.
There'll be worse ones than that. Don't worry.
Oh, I can't wait.
Wait till they lose to the Mets.
Well, let's move on to final takes. Do you have any final takes that you'd like to share with everybody?
I don't know. Make sure that you enjoy the Final Four this weekend. We both have Carolina winning. We both have Kansas beating Villanova. We both have Kansas winning the whole thing, I think, still.
Yep.
So make sure you enjoy them. We'll both be watching it.
Yes,
and we'll give you our opinions on the Final Four games and the national championship on Tuesday, because Monday will be when the title game is. There'll be a lot of stars probably at that Duke Carolina game.
Yes.
I'm sure Michael Jordan will probably be there. Leitner could be there for Duke. We could have a lot of big time players there. You never know who's going to be there. So make sure you watch.
Probably Obama too, because he was at the last Duke Carolina game, I think.
Yeah, I'm sure he will be. But anyway, so yes, that's it.
And I think I just want to say one more thing before we go. Well, the Minnesota Wild, my favorite hockey team.
I know nothing about hockey, by the way.
Yeah. Well, I just started liking them like 2 months ago just because they're good and they're a Minnesota team. So it makes sense.
I called the puck the ball.
Yeah, he calls the puck the ball and the ice the floor. Like, what is that?
Well,
anyway, win the Stanley Cup. Damn it. Please. One time for Minnesota. Just one time. Because the Vikings.
And Braves, at least get your ERA under 4. At least. That's all we're asking for.
All right. Thank you for tuning into The Stove. We'll catch you on Tuesday.